This training topic covers how to demonstrate the My Profile and My Organization menu items on the Filer portal. Start with the Filer portal home screen, which is what you're seeing here, and I'm working with the UAT server. And you'll need to log in as an administrator for one of the organization user types. So that's a law firm, a business, exempt government organization, or non-exempt government organization. And you'll want to make sure that that organization already has other users set up, as well as tokenized credit cards already set up. And that's because we will focus on that area when we get to My Organization. So that is the setup that's needed, and if you were to log in as Stephen K on the UAT server, that will satisfy those setup requirements. So of course I do an introduction and then jump into the actual demonstration itself. So that would go like this. When a person registers with TurboCourt, once they log in, they have the ability to manage their own profile. Additionally, when a person registers with TurboCourt as one of the organization user types, such as a law firm, a business, an exempt or non-exempt government agency, by default they are made an administrator of that organization. And only those users designated as an administrator can add users to that organization. That is to say, an individual cannot on their own register with TurboCourt and say that they are a member of your organization. Only the administrators can add registered authorized users. And you can have more than one designated user as an administrator for your organization. And administrators can manage the profiles of the organization's users as well as, of course, their own profile. So that's what's possible in terms of managing users' profiles and managing the organization. So let's take a look at My Profile first. So once you are logged into TurboCourt, to manage your own profile, you'll click on the My Profile menu item on the left side of the home page. And in the contact information section, you can see the user type you are registered as, and you can see what your access level is, whether you're a user or an administrator. And of course, you can edit your name and contact information and other details. In the username and security questions section, you can edit any of those fields. Scrolling down to the email preferences section, you can change your default notification status. And even if as an administrator you never plan on doing an actual TurboCourt filing, you still need to establish your default setting in case at some point you were to do a filing. Now on the bottom right portion of the screen, you can always click on the user agreement link to review the TurboCourt user agreement that you had agreed to as part of your registration process. And if you need to, you can click on this arrow to change your password, and this will bring up the screen to change your password. And so that's all that is possible with managing your own profile. It's very simple, it's very easy, and any of your users can do that. Now, if you happen to be logged in and registered as an administrator for your organization, then you will also see the My Organization menu item. And by clicking on this menu item, it will allow you to administer your organization within TurboCourt. So first, you'll see a list of all the users currently registered to use TurboCourt within your organization. And this list will show their name, their email address, their registration status, whether they're active or inactive, their access level, again, whether they're a user or an administrator, and if available, it will show whether or not these users have been assigned to any tokenized credit cards, nicknamed credit cards. So let's talk about what that is. So TurboCourt allows you to basically tokenize a credit card, which means you can identify a credit card that can be used by your organization to pay the various fees when using TurboCourt. So you'll give the credit card a nickname, and then you can assign which users in your organization may use that credit card. And by giving your staff access to the nicknamed credit card, they can use it to pay fees, but they won't see the credit card number and details such as that. Okay, so from this user list, you can click on a user's name to view and edit their profile. So let's go ahead and click on one of these users. And just as you can manage your own profile as an administrator, you can also edit the staff members' contact information, username, and password. But as an administrator, you can also change their access level from user to administrator. And if you click on the question mark next to that field, you'll see the differences between a user and an administrator. And you can also change their status as to whether they are active or inactive. Now, you can't delete users, and you wouldn't want to because you'll not want to keep them for historical and auditing purposes, but you can deactivate them, make them inactive, so they can no longer access TurboCourt as a member of your organization. Okay, so let's go back to the main list. And from this main list, you can also manage which tokenized credit cards the users are allowed to work with. So if I were to click on the Manage Assigned Cards link for any particular user, then I can see which cards are currently available and which cards this particular user, in this case Barbara Smith, has access to. So currently she can use the Appellate Filings credit card, and if I need to make a change, I can select or deselect any of these checkboxes, click Save, and then her profile is automatically updated. From this main organization screen, I can also click the Add User Account toolbar button to add more users to the organization. Note that you will be setting up their username and password for them initially, but once they log in, they can then manage their own profile and change those fields if they need to. Also note at the bottom here, we explain that the new user will be automatically sent an email informing them of their TurboCourt registration, but that this email will not include their password, and we do this for security purposes. So you will need to provide them their password separately. And here you have the option to simply click the Add button for adding this new user, or you can click Add and Assign Credit Cards, which will allow you to immediately assign tokenized credit cards to this new user in one step. Alright, so that's how easy it is to add users. Back to the main organization screen, you can also click the Edit Organization Info toolbar button, and this allows you to edit some key organization fields. You'll notice there is an email address field that is at the organization level, and this field is actually used by TurboCourt to pre-populate what we call the courtesy email notification field associated with all of the filings for your organization. So let me briefly explain that. So when a filing is electronically delivered, TurboCourt sends notifications back to the filer regarding the status of the filing. And they have the option of sending similar notifications to anyone else they want to, such as a colleague, a supervisor, a client, and they do that by adding their email addresses to the courtesy notification field. Now, by design, your organization's email address automatically pre-populates the courtesy notification field for all filings created by filers in your organization. And that can be really helpful if for example, you want to notify a particular department about all of the TurboCourt filings. So for example, let's say you want to alert the accounting department of every single TurboCourt filing so they can see the monies that are being spent. So by putting in your accounting department's email address here, it will automatically populate into the courtesy notification field for every single filing within your organization, regardless of who's doing the filing. So that's one useful way of working with that field. However, you should also note that on a filing by filing basis, the user who is actually creating that filing can edit that courtesy notification field, so they can add and remove email addresses. So you can choose basically as an organization how you want to work with this email address field and the courtesy notification field. Also, in our customer support module, a customer service representative can find an organization by looking up their company email address, as well as some other fields as well. The organization's phone number, which you see here, is not currently used in any sort of automated functionality at this point in time. And so that is how an administrator can manage the entire organization. So it's quite easy to use and very powerful in terms of working across your entire organization.